Okay, here we go. We're going to talk about APIs. So I'm going to open this notebook that we looked at last time. I went back and did some more work on this. I'm going to put this up at the top. Well, let me put it at the top. Puts it at the bottom. Let's see here. Okay, it'll be at the bottom. I just have to move it later. Okay. The API means application programming interface. Okay, why do we use APIs? Okay, back when I first started programming, if you wanted to connect your program to somebody else's company, you had to make a network. You had to get a firewall and a network person. It was extremely complicated. But see, APIs use HTTP. Does anyone know what HTTP is?
It's protocol.
It's just the internet. So it means programs will work over the internet. Great. It makes everything very simple. So we don't need any networking person and all that stuff. Okay, so we use APIs to get information. For example, let me see here. I got one I can click on. Like, look at this. I can go to the internet and I can just click right on this thing here if it's working right. This gives me the Bitcoin current prices. Okay. Now, I just clicked on that by going to that web page. But we can do this with a program. Now we're going to show how to do this. Now see how it's a little bit hard to read. So we copy this stuff here. And we can put it, there's a bunch of websites, but we can use JSON lint. To lint is a verb. It means to format your program code, like put indents, make it all nice to read. I put that here. I say validate JSON. Now you can read it easier, except there's advertising all over the place. See, so now you can see, today's date. It always gives the date, and we're gonna have a whole class on dates and times. The universal time is, I believe it's in the UK. Okay, at this time, one Bitcoin is equal to $27,000. Okay, it's also equal to 22,000 British pounds or 26,000 euros. Okay, so we go back and talk about that. So where was I typing here? Okay, so that was a get. So API operations, it means what do you want to do? There's get. That means get data. There's post. There's delete. I think there's an update too. But anyway, so this means go get information. This means write information. For example, I just got the Bitcoin price. Where did that come from? Well, some other programmer working for one of these Bitcoin companies wrote it up there using post. Delete obviously deletes information. Okay, so we have to learn what are our parameters. JSON body and URI. So parameters like this, we'll show that in a minute. Like if we go to HTTP, some website, the programmers often just say foo. you see in programming books a lot, people say foo. That just is a short name they use a lot. So we can say, okay, I want to go to the foo website. Now this part here, the URI is this part. Okay, the URL is foo.com. Okay, the URI is what is everything that comes after it. So that would be /API, you know? So think of it like this. URL, that's the name of some computer somewhere, like Microsoft.com. And then /API, that's somewhere on there. Like, for example, we can go here. Let's look at Twitter, right? Let's look at Facebook. This is my Facebook. I don't have a real Facebook account. I have a fake one. So if I click here, see it says facebook.com, but if I click this, it will change the address line. See what it did? It put all this stuff out here now. That's the URI part of an address, of a web address. Okay. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so the first example that we have here is this website, weather. We can get the weather in Nicosia right now. Now, let's see what we got here. Okay, so we're saying we want to use the JSON and request Python packages. Those are APIs. We're going to need them. Like, what does request do? Okay, request does stuff like it does. Request does get, post, delete. Or what did I just say get does? What does get do? It's like over here, it just says open a web page, right? Go get it. See? Okay, so here, openweathermap.org. Now there's two kind of APIs on the internet. There's free ones, there's ones you got to pay for. That's really three kinds. But then most of them have some requirement that you have some kind of password. So like let me see if I can show you. If I go to this website here, see, here's my account, right? I had to create an account. It's free. I can get the weather, but if I want to use it, I have to create an API key. See that? Is everyone with me? Can you still hear?
Yes.
Okay, see? So you can do this. I mean, you can fiddle with this. You can make API calls to TikTok. You can write data on TikTok. You can look up things on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, but you have to get an API key. So you can play around with this stuff. Okay, so that's mine here. See, it says 9.1D1 right here. So I got to give it to that. These are called parameters, which, you know, the long name is query line parameters, right? That's the things that we want. Remember what I said here? I said, okay, you put them like this, right? The ways you say question mark, like you can say like your name equal Walker. Okay, that's the parameter value. Okay, the value is Walker, and then the parameter's name. So if I was going to type it in the internet, I'd type it like this. But if I'm typing it in Python code, use this request thing, and it just says, what are the parameters? Now, this kind of object is what? What is that? It's just a Python dictionary, right? I just click this arrow to run this. I mean, for example, if I look here, params, let's type params here. See, there's the parameters. So this API, it wants two things. It wants URL. It wants to know where you want to go. And then what parameters do you want? You see how I put the question mark on here? I don't think I need that there. But anyway, so we run it here. Let's run it now. Okay, now what did it do? Okay, you can see I did some different things here. So for example, well, first of all, they got a real big problem here, which I don't quite understand. Which, look what they say the temperature is. It's always off by 10. It says it's 297 degrees in Nicosia. That's obviously not true. So I'm dividing it by 10. I don't know why they do that, you know? But anyway, so let's go back and look at this. So this, okay, I said request get, I gave it this address, and it came back with a response. Let's see what the response looks like. So I just type response here. Okay, that's basically the status code. I think, how do you spell status? I'm not sure. That's right. You know, web pages, they come back, they give you a 200 means it worked. It gives you, there's all kind of status codes. If you get a 404, that means the web page is not there. Okay, so I think the response also comes back with just plain text. Is that right? Yeah. See, I can get the answer like this, but I don't want text. I want it to be JSON, because JSON is something that we can work with. So there it is. See? So does everybody know what longitude and latitude is? I want to show you something here. If you go to Google Maps, okay, if you look for Nicosia, okay, look, if I click here and if I right click the mouse button, see that number? 35.18, 33.36. That's the longitude and latitude. That's where it's located on the map of the world, right? So here I put 35.18, didn't I?
It's also called coordinates, isn't it?
Yeah, coordinate system. It's actually backwards. You put, see, this is often confusing because different people put them in different orders. Look over here, they got longitude first, and that's 33, and Google's got it last, so they got it backwards, you know. Then they got latitude here. Basically, latitude means how far north are you, and longitude means how far east are you of the United Kingdom again. They always made these things be between France and England, because they're the people that invented the stuff. All right, anyway, so here we go. So everybody remembers how to work with dictionaries. Like, for example, how can I get from here the coordinates? I could just say, you know, you give it the name of the dictionary, and you say coordinates. C or D, okay? Where'd it go? Comes like that. So that's how you get the different attributes. Like, okay, we'll go into that again, but remember, we've already talked about dictionaries. Dictionary JSON is almost the same thing. Okay, so let's look here. So, okay, this is an example of getting data with parameters. So that's one way to do that. So we can say this. Let's put that, okay. Okay, so different ways to get data. One. Okay, URL with parameters. Then you'll also see there's URL with no parameters. When I got the get coin price, I'll show you that below, but here I didn't give it anything. I just gave it I just clicked on a web page and there it came. It didn't ask me like, what are you looking for? You know, euros or nothing like this. It just gave it to me. And then there's only one way to put data. To put data, meaning write data, you put a JSON object. I'll show you that. Let's go to the next one. This is an example of a put. Now, we don't have our own computer out there. Like Hipatia Academy, we don't have a system that you can write data to. Now, I could make one, but we can also do what's called mocking it, mock, computer server. That means to pretend something's there. Now, there's a lot of free servers out here. Like here's one, okay? These people here, they just let you use their computer and write data to it. So I think I can put in, noisy motor. I think I can put in any data, like I can say, pet, dog. Let's run this. Yeah, see, it's not doing anything. You know, if in business, you know, you would use the API if you want to like write, say, sales information or manufacturing information somewhere, but we don't have a Salesforce system. Salesforce is, for example, the system that does accounting for big businesses. So we're going to just, if we did, we would put that here, but we can use this mocked system, meaning it's pretend, it's empty. All it does, it takes what we give it and it writes it back to us. So notice here, look where it says, see here it says, okay, it says request. Then it wants the URL, then it wants the data here. See? Now up here we said we used a different word. We said params. And this said get. Down below, let's go back down below again. Hold on a minute. Let me just copy this so we can see both. So that one said get, and this one says post. See the difference? So it's the request object. It's got delete, it's got post, it's got get. Now see how Google's popping up here? Google's giving you some help. If you leave the cursor here, see it's giving you some information if you want to read their instructions. Okay, just like before, I'm going to use the JSON method to print out the results. I could also say this, they're not really needed. Status. That should say 200. meaning it worked. 201. Okay, when you write data, it usually says 200 and something. Okay, get rid of this. Now let's look at this next one here. What's the difference between this get? Well, we can just say it here. Copy it. And the one where we got the weather from. See, there's no parameters, right? Because this website, which is from CoinDesk, CoinDesk is a company that sells Bitcoins, okay? They don't require anything. I mean, if you need to know the price of a Bitcoin, that's all you need to tell it. You don't need to tell it what day or nothing. So you just run this, you just say, go get it, and it prints it out. Now, this is formatted output here, right? Which we'll talk about, but we talked about it before. It says, you know, you can also call this pretty print. Anybody heard the word pretty print? Okay, means put indents. Make it easy to read. That's what this indent does. Indent equal 4, like that. Now, this last one here, okay, this one, in my view, is old-fashioned. People don't do this much. Okay, I think I asked this last time and everyone said no. Did anybody see the Star Wars movies? Obi-Wan?
I have seen.
You've seen it, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, well, somebody made a whole website where you can get every information. Like, look, you can get the name of every ship here. And what else did you can get? You can get the name of all the planets. You know, useful stuff on the internet, right? Like Tatooine. You remember Tatooine? This is where, who was the Obi-Wan Kenobi? He was the old man in the first movie. This is where he lived, and this is where Luke Skywalker lived, right? Tatooine. But see, look here. So the difference is, for example, here, look, it says planets. Okay, so I can say here, I can say, wait a minute, I want to say this because this is like documentation here. Meaning instructions. 1, 2, 3. See, if I don't give it anything, it just lists this. Now, suppose I say planets. What am I changing? I'm changing the URI. So, okay, this looks up stuff based upon the URI. If I run planets, because it lists every planet in the Star Wars movie. There's a lot of them. So I think it does it based on every planet should have a number. Let me see here. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's put. Oh no, it won't let me type into this. I think you can say planets 1. Does that work? Yeah, okay. Is that the first one or has it got the number 1? That's just the first one. That's not normally how you do things. But look what they're saying here. They're saying, okay, this planet called Tatooine was in this movie A New Hope. That was the first Star Wars movie. And had these people in it. See, these are just links. I can click on it. So like there's Luke Skywalker. So now how can I look up Luke Skywalker? Change the URL to Luke Skywalker and it'll look him up. There he is, see? Now this way of doing things, changing this part, we don't do this in business, you know? In business, we use parameters. For example, go back and look at this. Now I got something typed wrong here. So if I click on this, it's going to give an error. Okay, we went over this last time. Now look at this. See, you see how it says equals? Okay. And what else? It says in space, like, okay, can you have a web page like this? Can you have a web page that says space book.com?
You can't because there is a space in between. You need like lowercase a letter, or I forgot how this character is called.
You put %20. That's how you do a space. This is called URL encoding. This is a hexadecimal number, which we're going to talk about a lot. But that's right. That's the correct answer. So I need to take this. Now I got something typed wrong here. So let me fix it here. So I'm going to look for a website that says URL encode. It's called URL encode. I want to encode this here. Encode. Okay, it looks like that. Look at it. Decode. See how it says lat equal 35.17 at lon. So click encode. Okay, equal is not valid letter either. So it changed that to be this. Right? See? Before, after. Before, after. So what is the equal sign equal to? Comes after the 7, so it's this one here, right? %26. So if I typed all that correctly, then I can put it in here. Why doesn't it let me edit this thing? If that works. It doesn't like my API key. Oh, I know why. I know why, because I didn't give it the API key. I don't know why this is not working, but anyway, see, so these parameters, you put them like this. If you go into the internet, you know, and if you want to look up something, like if I want to look up this, I have to say question mark, latitude equals, and longitude equals, and API ID equals. Then it should work. I've spelled something wrong here though. But I'll figure that out later. I don't want to spend any more time on that part of it. It's just, these are the basic things to understand, which is go back and review, right? Which is, okay, API has 3 operations: get, post, delete. Obviously, I can't show you a delete because I don't have any server out there. Now, we could set up a server and be able to delete data from it. We might do that. Okay, you give it the parameters when it say what? When it say get. When it say post, you don't give it a parameter, you give it a JSON body. Like this. Go down here, look at it again. So here's the post. We call it the body. The request, SDK calls it data. You mean, think about that. If you're going to go write something to the internet, right? I put HTTP, you know, something. How do I put data in there in the New York Times? Well, you can't through here. You got to do it using an API. I mean, we can get data like this. We say question mark something equals something. So these are the parameters. These are query line parameters. Okay. And then the last way, which I told you is old fashioned, is, well, except for this one. This one has no parameters. That's not real common. But, you know, if you're going to get the Bitcoin price, you don't need any information. Just give me the Bitcoin price. But then this Star Wars one is, no one does this anymore in business. They decided to do it like that, where you give it the address, the whole address of what you want. So I want Planet 1, which is Tatooine. I want Luke Skywalker like this. All right, now I'm going to stop recording here. Wait a minute. Stop recording.